Hi, my name is Karsten, and I'm doing a lot of different things. That's kind of my main thing is doing a lot of different things. So I'm involved in Mindpark, as was mentioned. I've currently done a lot of different things. I'll come back to that. I'll give a talk which I will call 9 advices for living a good life, or as I've also said, 9 unexpected rules for awesome life, which I think is a little bit more powerful. So for 10 years I've been, or little less than 10 years, I've been an entrepreneur. So I started my first company, and I've started Mindpark. I've run now 9 different companies which I've become involved in, and all of them, no, one actually isn't really, it's still alive, but it's not really that good. But the rest is going very well, so that's interesting and always new challenges. And apart from that, I'm also involved in a lot of different projects. So I've started something called Creative Lab, which is a society for creative and tech people to meet each other. And now, currently, since the last year, I've been quite involved as well in the refugee situation and trying to get people who come to Sweden to get involved in doing what they want to do or helping them further. So it's really, really interesting. If I look at this, when people talk about me, they often talk about me as an entrepreneur. And that's, for me, it took a long time before I got used to that title, because I didn't like that title. But it's a title which the outside gives me, so I have to use that title. But if I look at what I'm actually doing, I'm more like a project person. I try things out. I experiment a lot. So I'm in a lot of different situations, trying different things. And because I'm in so many different situations, I see a lot of different things. And that's kind of this talk, what this will be about, like all the different things I've observed. Because if you observe a lot of varied circumstances and people in varied circumstances, you realize that there's actually some kind of rules which govern, okay, how do we actually work, or what does people who achieve things, how do they differentiate from people who don't really achieve things? So it's very similar to the previous talk here in that sense. But instead of 1, I've done 9, so we'll see how that works. So these are 9 rules or hacks or whatever, advices, which I think are very useful to follow. Okay, so let's start. It's 80 minutes, 9 advices, so a little bit less than 2 minutes per advice. First advice is just do it, which is, I think, a really, really important advice, because a lot of time people have ideas, and a lot of time people want to do things. But the important thing isn't to want to do things. The important thing is to do it. So if you want to start a company, you should start doing something. If you want to write a novel, you should start doing something. If you want to be in a band, you should start doing something. And often the first thing to do isn't starting a company, or isn't being in a band, or isn't writing a whole novel. The first thing is often smaller steps. It might be, pitch your ideas to some potential customers. It might be sing in the shower more. It might be start to write 1 letter each day about something. It's small things, and all these small things add up after a while. So start doing small things, and when you look back at it, you will see that you've actually done a lot of small things, and that takes you very far. But it's never one big step, or sometimes, but very seldom it's one big step. So most of the times it's lots and lots of small steps. So start doing instead of just thinking. Just start with some of the easiest things you can do, and that will take you a long way. Okay, second advice is ask questions. Because you will be doing a lot of things, and you might sometimes be unfamiliar with, I'm not really sure how to do this, or how do I become better? So you need to ask questions. And ask questions you can do in a lot of different ways. You can ask, of course, friends, you can ask family, but you can also ask the internet. You can use social media to ask the general public or people who are there. You can ask Google to see, has anybody else had this problem and solved this problem? But as soon as you stumble upon a problem, you should always try to remember that you should ask questions. The challenge here is to actually do it, because it's very uncomfortable. Asking a question shows to your surroundings that you don't really know, and we often feel insecure then. So asking is actually very hard. And as with everything else, the more you do it, the better you get. So you should start asking questions, and the better you become at asking, the more questions you ask, the better you will become at asking questions. You will also learn how should I phrase questions? Like, which questions do I actually get answers to? Because sometimes you will ask questions and you won't really get an answer. Okay, but that's also good. Then you realize, okay, wait, why didn't I get an answer to that question? Could I ask it in another way, for example? But ask as much as possible. The good thing with asking questions is also that if you ever become in a management position or in a leader position, asking questions is the best leadership advice I can give to you, because leadership is a lot about listening. It's a lot about being there and knowing what the other person is doing or what challenge that person has. Asking questions is a way to force yourself to listen. Because if you ask, you need to hear the answer. So instead of talking, ask as much as possible. Okay, third advice in life. This is also very important. Nobody knows what they're doing. This takes a long time to actually realize. And that's a big part of that is because of the way we are raised, the way we grow up. So we are raised in an environment where other people tell us all the time how to do things or what to do and what not to do. But the older you get, and especially like the higher you get in like management or in politics or whatever, the higher you come in society, the more you realize nobody actually knows what they're doing. Nobody. Everybody is just kind of guessing. They're kind of looking, what did the person before me do? Maybe I should do something similar. What are they doing over there? Sounds quite smart. I should probably do something similar. But nobody knows what they're actually doing. I mean, you can ask any prime minister. Everybody who's a prime minister started out with not being a prime minister. So when they become a prime minister, they actually don't know what to do because they haven't been a prime minister before. It's the same in any management position. As soon as you're promoted to become a manager, or even if you're CEO of a company, you haven't been the CEO of that company before. You don't know what to do. But you maybe have a hunch. Or you ask. That's why asking is very important. But it's very important to realize that everybody started out that way, with not knowing. So because of that, the people who've come a long way, they realize that everybody started out knowing nothing. So they're very open to helping others. Because they realize if they don't help others, how would they learn themselves once upon a time? When you go through life, it's also very important to remember life will have ups and downs. There is no euphoria in life. There is no perfect life. There is no life which will be only happiness. It doesn't exist. Our brain doesn't work that way. Because if we are exposed to constant happiness, we will actually get accustomed to it and no longer regard it as happiness. So life will contain ups and downs. And because of that, it's important to have other people around you. It's important to have people close to you in one way or another. It could be a partner, it could be family, it could be parents, could be children, doesn't matter. And these persons might actually change. Might be one person, might sometimes be 0 persons, might be 5 persons. Doesn't have to be people who you talk to daily. It could be people who you don't meet in a year. But it has to be people who you feel are close to you. Those people are very important, amongst the most important things in your life. Okay. 5th advice. Be honest. This is, of course, kind of, okay, I said unexpected advices, so maybe this isn't too unexpected in that sense. Be honest is good. It's good to be honest. It's good to be honest with your surroundings, to be honest to other people. But the main thing to be honest to is yourself. It's very, very hard to be honest towards yourself. A lot of the times you do things without really realizing or thinking, why am I actually doing it? Why am I making this choice? Why am I going to study at that university? Is it because I want to, or is it because somebody else tells me? And whenever you do something, you need to, especially if you do something and you somehow have a gut feeling, we talk about gut feelings, like, I'm not really sure if I should do it or not. I actually don't believe in gut feelings. Gut feelings is just an excuse. In reality, you actually know what the gut feeling is, but you have to learn to understand yourself. So when you have a gut feeling, you have to ask yourself, where is this gut feeling coming from? Why do I have a gut feeling? And then when you answer that question, you might ask yourself again, why? How does that come up? Where does that come from? It's about asking yourself, where your feelings actually come from. And that will help you a lot. Because the more honest you are towards yourself, the easier it is to be honest to other people. Because otherwise, you might say things which you believe is honest, but you're actually telling a lie because you aren't really honest towards yourself. So your own honesty is one of the most important things to work on. And this is really, really, really hard. because we're great at fooling ourselves. We love to take the easy way out. We love to just say whatever feels convenient, or what I've heard other people say. I'm saying the same because that's kind of what I should be saying. But that doesn't matter. You have to be honest towards yourself. And this takes years of practice. So work on that all the time. And I try to be as honest as possible, but I'm still finding myself lying to myself. So I think you might never actually become completely honest. It's always a journey to do. Oh, sorry. Okay, sixth advice. 9, we are so more than halfway. Sixth advice is that the world is not fair. The world is against you in one way or another. And you have to realize that, because realizing that will make life easier and will make you happier. Because what happens is that our brain is wired in a way that we like to help other people. That's genetics. We're social beings. I mean, you don't even know me, and you still feel I'm kind of nice, and you don't hate me automatically. So we're very social beings. We like other people by default, even if you can get other ideas from watching the news. We like other people. That's how we work as humans. So, but the problem is that if I help somebody, if I help you, and I help you, you receive help. Then how much I feel that I helped you and how much you feel that I've helped you will differ. So maybe I'm helping you with something which is very easy for me, but for you it's a big challenge. Then you will feel I helped you a lot, and I will feel I didn't, nothing. Of course, I will help you, no problem at all. But it can also be the other way around. That I'm helping you with something which actually is kind of, I don't really like it. You're going to move again. One day, packing all those boxes, carrying all those boxes. I don't really feel that excited about that. But you might not really realize how much I'm actually giving to you. So this difference is actually invisible, so we don't really know. But most of the time, we always feel that we're giving more than we get back, because we know ourselves, but we don't know the other person. So we will very often feel we give more than we get back. And that is because we just don't know. So we have to realize that the world seems unfair, because we give more than we think we get back. But actually, we will get back just as much, even more. It's just that we don't really realize it. But our brain doesn't see it. So we have to remember life is unfair, so that we realize it's actually good. Very important rule. If you can master that, then you will always be happy in one way or another, because you will actually be nice, life is nice, everything is good. Okay, 7th rule, respect the curse of knowledge. How many here have heard about the curse of knowledge? Okay, the curse of knowledge is a very, very powerful thing. Which is really hard to understand, because it's also one of the things with how our brain is wired. What it means is that once we learn something, once we know how to do something, we cannot understand how it is not knowing it. Okay? So once we can solve a math problem, we won't understand how it is not obvious to anybody how to solve it. Because for us, it's now obvious. We know how to do it, and we can't really realize how it is not knowing. Our brain doesn't work that way. The brain knows, and it doesn't understand how it is not knowing. It can't shut out like certain expertise. Like, no, turn off math part. I don't know any math. Okay, now I can understand how it is not knowing math. I can't do that. We can't do that. So this is important, because the older you get, the more you will be in positions where it's like, yeah, but that's not so hard. That's very easy. That's obvious. You just need to do that. But the other person doesn't see it at all. And you have to respect that. You have to respect that it takes time to learn, and to learn things for each individual. So that's very important, because otherwise you will be there and you will be like, you might get mad at people, or you might get annoyed at people just because they don't really realize something which for you is obvious, but not for them at all. So respect the curse of knowledge. Okay, 8th rule. Become nervous. And this is a very important rule. Because a lot of times, this is actually kind of a life hack in that sense, that a lot of times we're talking about you should be outside your comfort zone. And this is being outside your comfort zone is. As soon as you're outside your comfort zone, you will become nervous. You will feel unsure. You'll feel like, can I really do that? Can I really sing, for example? But the beauty is, being nervous is a feeling we don't like. Like instinctively, it's a bad feeling. We try not to be nervous. Most of the time, we're not nervous. And when we get nervous, we don't like it. We want to avoid to be nervous. And that's from our genetic history. Yeah, once upon a time, if you saw a lion, it was very good that you became nervous and very good that you maybe ran away. Very good. But in our society today, everything is so secure that all these instincts of fear and nervosity aren't they're very useless. They don't help us at all most of the time. It's very seldom we actually have some use of being nervous, for example. So whenever you become nervous, you should realize that you're actually in a position to do something which will teach you a lot, which you will learn a lot by doing the things which make you nervous. So you should always, whenever you feel nervosity, actually be happy. You should say oh, great, now I actually have a chance to learn something which I haven't done before, or which I feel I can get better at. And I have a rule for myself that whenever I've done something which has made me nervous before, and then I no longer become nervous, I have a rule that then I feel I have learned it. That's like my measure stick. If I've become nervous before, but now I'm no longer nervous when doing it, okay, then I'm good at it now. That means either I can be happy with that, great, or I need to challenge myself further into new things in order to become more nervous when doing it. Okay, and the ninth advice is forgive. And this is something, if you look into society, something actually which is a huge part of religions, of most of religions, this is a very important part, forgiveness. And I think this is because that's also how we work. Life, as we already mentioned, is unfair, and you will be quite often in positions where people are just stupid or bad towards you or whatever. But you need to forgive, even if you've done nothing wrong and other persons have all the blame on it. You need to forgive. You don't need to forgive instantly. It can take years, but sooner or later, you need to forgive. Just because that will help you. Even if it doesn't help anybody else, it'll help you. Going around and blaming others is one of the worst things you can do. Because it will drain you. It will drain energy, it will drain your mental capacity, and it will drain your happiness. So sooner or later, you need to forgive, even if it's completely unfair. And all of this actually kind of boils down to that people, as people, we're really good at fooling ourselves in one way or another. And I think if you want to, I think actually people doing things and achieving much in life are good at fooling themselves in a good way. And other people are fooling themselves in a bad way. So that we're good at, that we can fool ourselves is both good and bad. And we have to use it to our advantage. So that we fool our brain into doing things we actually thought we might not be able to. And we should avoid things when we fool ourselves which hinders us or which makes us not do things. So go out, fool yourselves a little bit more. Thank you.